Excellent. All right, Ocean Rock Talks. This is exactly where it's at. You guys ready?
Yes.
Today we're going, I wish we could actually go into someone's home because that's really was so popular when Dr. Pete's invited people into her home on the Facebook Live. Do you remember that? They ate that up like, let me see, open your fridge. It was awesome.
Put all my business out there.
Yeah. You're like, and in my bathroom. So we are diving into a holistic home, an awesome setting, ways you can make your lifestyle a little bit healthier all through the house. And we all have such different houses, so you'll get to hear what we use. And this is important because these are the things that we talk about all day. So now you get our time and our attention to just hear what living in a holistic home is like. You're going to learn about the top mistakes that you might make, right, when it comes to your home environment. And we get to spend time telling you what your doctor doesn't have time to tell you on your short visit. So you can learn that here today. So do you guys have a certain room you want to tour through first? I don't think we should start in the bedroom.
Let's start in the kitchen.
Okay, we'll start in the kitchen. Okie doke. So, Sarah knows most about. Sorry if you don't know us.
I'm Sarah. I am the nutritional therapist here at Ocean Rock Wellness, so the kitchen is my domain, I would say.
Yes. And we have Dr. Pete Talbot here, and she is a holistic wellness mother.
Yeah, I got 3 kids, 1 husband, and a home, a 2-bedroom home right now. So, yeah, that's me.
That's fun. I have a home too. I had some kids. I'm Dr. Famous.
And I'm Beth. And we're going to get started on the kitchen today.
The kitchen. Yeah. So kitchen, when people talk about like healthy eating, rarely do they go into what they're cooking with, materials, storage, that sort of thing. But we know that's where a lot of kind of toxins can come from, endocrine disruptors from plastic and that sort of thing. So I'll tell you, maybe if we go through kind of like a kitchen. So there's the storage that I guess we're talking about kind of mistakes and swaps.
Yeah,
you're packing away leftovers. Or even when you're buying food, often it comes in cheap materials. Plastics, plastic bags, plastic wrap. You know when you go to the grocery store and they've wrapped like pumpkin in saran wrap and you go to peel it off and it doesn't come off? So plastics are not great because they leach. And there's a lot of things like heating plastics that can make kind of the plastics leach even more.
Heating them up.
Yeah.
Right, or freezing them. Like changing temperature changes their structure, and they release the chemicals that weren't intended.
And I really wonder about Tupperware because my dad, I mean, some of this stuff has lasted for a long time. I know there's some stuff my dad has that's
been there
like
for years.
40,
But the unfortunate thing about that, although I am pretty sure our parents will be proud of any Tupperware that they still have from 1980, the reality is back then there were not as many regulations as they are now. Like you're not allowed to use a lot of chemicals that you would have been able to use back then.
So plastics are a big one for sure.
Well, with plastics, it's all about what you put in it. I feel like this is a topic that always piques my interest because there are some things you just want to put in a Tupperware container, right? But things acidic, like so tomatoey or really acid things, you don't want to put, and you definitely don't want to put anything hot.
And you can kind of tell with tomato because when you put tomato sauce in a plastic container,
all of a sudden
it's red for life, and you're like somehow they've bonded.
And, and I ate some of that bond.
So because it goes both ways. The tomato got into the plastic, but also the plastic got into the tomato.
So water is a big one, or drinks in plastic. That's definitely a big one. So swapping that for glass.
Stainless steel.
And I think the worst thing about it is not only, water bottles or these things that are stored in plastics when they get to your home, but before that. So if they were sitting in hot trucks or warehouses, all of that time you don't know, what sort of leaching was going on. So swapping for plastic, especially if it's an oil. So when you buy oils, you don't want to buy it in plastic. Or if you do, you quickly want to transfer it into a glass bottle
to stop the process.
to stop the process.
Ideally, glass.
Yeah. 'Cause
But
you-
buy it in
I
glass.
think glass seems to be the safest.
It is.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's also good for the earth because you can't recycle plastic here,
Yeah.
at least here where we are,
Yeah. Yeah. So oils, water, being conscious of what you buy it in, and even if you buy it, because realistically, we all at some point will buy a plastic water bottle or something like that. But it's when you get it into your house how you transfer that into a different material. Not cooking with plastics or heating up. Dear God, heating up hot food in plastic containers.
Don't stick a plastic container in the microwave.
But we all kind of, grow up doing that, and so it's just about learning to do it a new way.
I mean, but even worse, can we just say it now? Don't stick a styrofoam container in the microwave.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
yeah.
don't take your takeout. It's bad enough it came in styrofoam.
Yeah.
Don't put that in the
You
microwave.
know how we solve that? We don't own a microwave.
Yeah.
And
We
when you don't have one, then you at first it's annoying because you were used to using it, but then you forget about it.
And honestly, air fryers and a pot, it just
you can heat stuff up. Yeah,
you can heat stuff up.
Exactly.
It's all about habits and changing them.
Yeah.
And then I think the other is cooking materials. So when you're baking or sautéing, so oven or cooking materials, the best ones to do would not be non-toxic. It would definitely be stainless steel, cast iron, and those are ones that are going to last longer as well.
Well, see, and that's kind of tricky because I heard that some of the cast irons, like you have to be careful about the quality, right?
The cast irons,
So some of the cast
I've just heard
irons,
in general, all of them, they iron. It used to be actually that iron was the good
beneficial,
thing, but it's actually a very inflammatory form of iron.
Yeah.
So
you got to go more like
stainless steel and ceramic really are the best.
And those are the most expensive ones. So when it comes to making those swaps, maybe it's like next year. One at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Realistic.
Replace one part of
What about, have you heard of these stone earth stoneware?
They're similar concept. You just have to be careful because there are so many brands. I think it's similar to ceramic in that it's an earth material, but we have to remember that the earth has contaminants as well, right? So some of the stones may have arsenic and things like metal.
Yeah. And then for baking, stainless steel and not using a non-stick. But if you have a non-stick and you don't have like a stainless steel pan, you can use parchment paper.
Yeah.
But dear God, don't use tinfoil.
Yeah.
We had that conversation the other day.
Yeah.
So if you want to line something because you're like it's plastic or it's it's non-stick, just buy some parchment paper, and that's how you can bake your cookies or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's affordable swaps. You don't have to completely change it all up.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So one of the toxicities that I knew I had, and it came up in my test that I had, was aluminum. And I didn't, so until aluminum became a problem with me and contributed to some of the health stuff I was dealing with, I didn't recognize how much aluminum is in everything. And so, by that time I was like, oh, I'm using aluminum deodorant at that point. But I had lots of vaccines that also had aluminum, and then I was like big into tin foil.
Yeah.
At that point, cooking with it, in it, using it to wrap stuff like tin
Leftovers from your mom's house.
Yeah, tin foil was this. It was like a lot of tin foil used. So.
And you just get smarter about it because no one can overhaul their kitchen.
Yeah.
Or some people can. But
but you can really decrease. Like I know I still have like tinfoil in my house, but it will last me
so much longer.
Exactly, because I feel like I'm the queen of wraps and parchment paper too. But when it comes to like sealing something in the oven, you kind of need a tight seal. You might have to use some tinfoil. But I always line it with parchment paper.
Right. So you use both.
There's kind of like a circle of safety under it.
And talking on that, when you're buying foods, when it comes to like tins, is you can buy some non-BPA tins, which are okay. There's always going to be something else. But when you buy tomatoes, when we talk about like acid, don't buy tomatoes. Buy them in the glass for sure.
Because
sardines with tomato sauce.
pHs, they will break down whatever that material is.
That is a mistake that people
Yeah, I was
They
doing it
don't know.
until last year. It was like, oh, organic tomatoes in a tin, and
Yeah.
you don't think,
Yeah.
and then you start to realize.
And someone
Exactly.
actually stopped me, Dr. Famous, in the grocery store and asked me about the box tomato stuff that comes not in
Right.
tin, but in a box.
But the
in a
box
big
is
tray.
lined, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's still glass, is still best
Mhm.
because that box is lined with plastic.
But all of them, if you kind of, the more you know, the better
Mhm.
you can. What is that saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
those
better
little things,
choices
The more
you can
know, the
make.
better
And
you
when you're
do.
trying to reduce your
Yeah.
bioaccumulation and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
those
And it-
small things add up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's something that you must buy in a tin, then at most you can do better with everything else. Because
Yeah.
less is always better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you know better, you do better.
There we
That's
go.
it. Yeah. All right. Let's go through the house to another area because we can get stuck on kitchen. And for a second, I thought they were going to start talking about food. I'm like, no, not today. Because toxic. Food. Anyway, whole other topic. So let's go through the common areas because I did have this question for Dr. Peets because in my house, we for a while have been trying to break the wearing the shoes in the house. You know, kids want to run to the bathroom or something, and trying to reel it in. I mean, we have pets and everything, so what's your take on, do you think that everyone should take their shoes off at the door in those common areas?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. So you know,
It just doesn't mean it's going to be
It'd be
100%.
100%,
yeah.
But the answer is absolutely.
yeah. No, I think
You tell her.
I think it, no. Yes, definitely.
Okay.
No, yeah.
But I saw two challenges, right? So the reason why it just happens to keep the home more holistic,
Clean.
more hygiene, more hygienic, more clean. So that's just great. And then you're
Right,
not.
the one sweeping.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. And you're not trudging in a lot of stuff that you might. And kids, oh my goodness, they bring in a lot of stuff. So you're not got all that mess. But it is tricky, right?
But it
So
goes a huge step further because of the toxins.
yes. So
Yeah.
I feel like if you start to create the habit and have a place where they know that their shoes will be, I think that really helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's
yes.
a great. I think it's
So
a great
Dr.
idea.
Peets Talbot has a home for everything in her home, right? I'm still working on that piece. Yeah. That's when we did this reveal. We love doing reels, and that was the funniest reel because we found out most of us are messy, except
Oh yeah, I'm the neat freak in the group.
yeah.
Or the
So I
organized
think
one.
yes, if
Yeah.
everything had a home, then it'd be easier to keep that nice.
It's about creating that home.
Create that space, that nice feng shui. So what else do you guys have in your common rooms where everyone's hanging out? Let's say living room. I don't know why I called it common room because I don't usually.
Because they're common.
They're common.
Well, I recently had to replace the couch, our couch. No, I wouldn't say recently, but it's been a couple
Yeah.
of years, and I really you have to be conscious about the type of furniture you're putting in. Especially, I have young kids, so I'm really conscious about trying to choose furniture that is not off-gassing. People don't realize that a lot of the furniture that they can bring in the house is actually toxic because it's sprayed with
Yeah.
Fire retardants.
retardant stuff, fire retardants, and it's got varnishing. And then they say that they also tend to spray furniture with fungicides.
Wow.
And so it gets really tricky trying to pick a furniture that's not going to make you sick, that you're going to lay over, and your kids are going to be all over,
my
and things like
gosh.
that. So
We recently
it's helpful
furniture
to think
shopped,
about that.
and one of the ladies were like, "Oh, but you would want to have the stain-resistant coating, right?" And I was like, "No." She looked at me like, "Don't you have kids?" I was like, "That's exactly why I don't want
Yeah.
it."
Yeah.
Just another layer of chemical that's
Chemicals,
going to leach
exactly.
over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they say that the air in your home can be more toxic than outside.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, especially for us because our outside is beautiful.
We have
Yeah.
that
I
in
mean, downtown city life would be debatable.
Yeah.
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 Be
Yeah.
like-
yeah, but no, I think you have have to be conscious of, like,
Mhm.
I think,
Well, that's
then-
imagine a whole brand new home.
And then like
Whew.
painting, whatever you paint your common areas with, or paint your house in particular, you ideally are hopefully going for like no VOC paint or low VOC paint, so that
And even
off-gassing-
then,
yeah.
it's gonna off gas. But some of the studies show that stuff off gases for like
Years.
15
years.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
We started getting into for paint is lime wash,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
which is completely non-toxic.
oh, you should tell me about that.
Yeah.
Or tell us about that because I
Don't know much about it.
Yeah,
It's
okay,
as far as I got.
well, we should
Actually,
look
a
up some
client
of
of mine said that she realized that the roof stuff we put on the roof, it's still like paint, but it's really just like you said, a lime wash, which is kind of as close to natural.
And it's
I'm
always
using that
it's
word
natural
very
pigmented.
loosely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she has an old Bermuda home and she was painting on the
Yeah.
inside with that stuff.
Interesting.
Well, it's great that the different areas are moving into these healthier options, right?
Yeah.
So you can shop holistically for your new home and paint, and the more you go and ask these paint companies, they start bringing them in, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
making that better. We're gonna head now to the bathroom.
May I just, before we move on?
Okay. Yes.
With VOCs and these things, VOCs is volatile organic compounds, which really just means they're like coming into the air, and that's why we keep saying off gassing. But one of the best ways you could deal with that is to just open a window.
Windows.
Aside from having an air purifier, open a window and let some of that like toxic air out.
And new furniture, leave it outside or leave it in a different room for a while to
Yeah.
let
Completely
To help.
ventilate.
I think ventilation,
Right.
ventilation is key.
Yeah.
Times you don't want to ventilate, you're not able to ventilate, like if it's rainy or
or-
super cold,
yeah.
get that. But I do think that people sometimes get confused between, especially when we talk about in the home, air purifiers and dehumidifiers.
Okay.
Big difference.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
difference, right?
And now is when
In
people are
Bermuda,
pulling
you
out.
need both,
Yeah.
but you definitely cannot replace one with the other. They do
Yeah.
two different.
Two
Yeah.
different things.
And humidifiers are even different, right?
Yeah.
Which is a more U.S. thing because of
Yeah.
the
Yes.
dry
Right.
air, but we kind of have the opposite problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So air purifiers take toxins and chemicals and
They
microbes
filter the
and maybe
air.
even pat down the definitely
Yeah.
pat down the out of the air. A dehumidifier takes the moisture out of the air. So they're separate, and generally I have not seen any of them that do the same thing. So that's why we say you do both.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
reason you want to dehumidify is to reduce the moisture to prevent mold,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
it doesn't prevent mold in the way that the air does.
Oh, and that brings me to something I learned recently is that there's also this tendency, especially in Bermuda, humid climate, to also get a paint that is
Oh, a mold inhibitor.
Yeah.
a mold,
Like that.
anti-mold or a mold inhibitor paint. And it sometimes has different names like dry lock, not dry lock, but
Start with a
yeah,
Z.
it's essentially is meant so that you don't have
It's
mold
normally
growing.
a first layer though.
A gripper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they undercoat. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem with those types of paints is they select for more toxic mold. So so at the beginning, you probably won't have any mold in your walls, but eventually you will start to select for a mold that is actually worse to grow in your wall.
And that's similar to how
Wow.
antibiotics work. So
Yeah.
when we overused antibiotics 30 years ago, what we
Right.
did was kill off all the bacteria that
The
can
good.
right
But that's sensitive.
that's sensitive to that
Yeah.
drug.
Mhm.
And then we were left with superbugs, bugs that
Aren't
could care less
sensitive.
what drug you use because they're resistant.
Yeah, they're
and so we
antibiotic
create
resistant.
these kind of resistant molds in a
Mhm.
similar
And,
way.
and what we learned from at least the mold is the mold that does grow on those types of walls eventually that have been treated with those types of paint will be more toxic to your health than the mold that is more sensitive. So yes, if you're thinking, okay, well I'm gonna have mold on my walls, especially in Bermuda, because it could be like no matter what.
Yeah.
Then you
it's a
really
real
want a mold that your body can handle than not. That's
Yeah.
more toxic for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But get the windows open. Air quality is huge.
And
Huge.
yeah, and get sunlight in.
Yeah,
a lot of
light
air
and
summer.
air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And how about let's head to the
Bathroom.
bathroom.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I
And
interrupted.
That's fine. That's fine. In the bathroom, one thing that we love to talk about is a squatty potty. So I don't know how many people have heard about that, but I first saw it when I was at Dr. Pete's house, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's the first one I ever used.
Oh,
A
wow.
squatty potty.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah. You want to explain what it is?
So a squatty potty is pretty much a what is it?
Stool?
Stool.
Or bench that particularly folds around your toilet or molds around your toilet, and then it lifts your feet up. And what happens is that when this is great.
Yes.
That's a physio. So what it does is it puts your body and your pelvis in a better alignment so that your poops come out easier.
Yeah.
So
that
It's
is
a
it.
better posture.
Hundreds of
posture.
years ago, we didn't use thrones. We actually would squat to
Yeah.
empty our bowels, and that position is ideal.
Mhm.
You see it in nature with the animals,
Exactly.
and so this just allows us to do that thing on the throne.
And so
Yeah.
when you're purchasing your throne, you can also think about that. I find that challenging. One, I'm short, so sometimes when I go,
You feel like you're tippy toes.
I went to a restaurant. I'm like, wow, how do people get on this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed a stepping stool just to get on the potty. And so when you have kids too, it's great because their feet are dangling. They're not helping with their posture at all.
Yeah. And I think kids can sometimes struggle with constipation more than adults, even
Yeah.
though I see it at all ages. But kids can definitely struggle.
Especially when they move to the big potty.
Yeah, when they move, I actually have kept my youngest is 4 years old, and I've kept my potty because I think for them it's still squatted.
Creates the
Yeah,
position.
Yeah.
it creates the better position for them. So even though they have the squatty potty, but I still don't think that their position
not
is
big enough
yeah,
yet.
yeah, they're not
Yeah.
big enough yet. So
Like your older girls are.
yeah.
Yeah, so what else in the bathroom makes it holistic?
Not using toxic chemicals to clean it.
Yes, like when you see mold build up in your moist shower,
Yeah.
not to use Clorox.
Right. You
or
want to go
those-
for peroxide, so
Yeah.
that's good. Peroxide is going to help to clean the mold spores, well, actually completely kill and destroy the mold spores, which is what you want, and the mold, but it will not take away that, the dark stain.
The stain.
Yeah.
We also have a mold concentrate
Yes.
that we sell here, which is an amazing product, all natural, no harsh chemicals.
Microbalance.
Microbalance.
Microbalance. But you're right, it doesn't get out the stain. And then I think visually, a lot of times we then associate the stain with
being dirty
with
or-
being
yeah.
dirty. Yeah.
And that one I struggle with because I think you can do and you can make your own cleaner. So you could do peroxide, and then you can do that first, let
You
it
can
sit,
use
let it clear.
non-chlorine bleaches.
Yeah,
right?
and then follow through just to make sure you get that
They're like
complete.
cold oxygen bleaches. We've kind of seen a lot of brands. Of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
But if you mix peroxide and vinegar, you'll actually make a non-chlorine bleach.
There you go.
perfect.
There you go.
I know Dr. Famous has, and you know, it's one thing that I think is cool that you have talked about lots of times, Dr. Famous, is that you don't need a whole cabinet full of 20 different products. You know, people have
Soap, water, baking soda, vinegar, peroxide.
yeah.
If
But
you
some
really
people's
need to
underneath
disinfect
their
the whole-
bathroom
Yeah.
has different than underneath their kitchen, is different than underneath, you know, there's just so many products on the
And
market.
it's all marketing. and
Yes.
all- yeah.
Sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, you want to do it for yourself, but you also want to do it for your kids, because one of the things that real kids get into problems with is ingestion toxins, and that's as soon as they could toddle around and start
And
to get in
everything.
the
Yeah.
things. So you really
And think about it, there's things they do this for to catch your attention in the grocery store. Like they're normally bright blue or fluorescent orange. Any little kid sees that, they're gonna be like, "Oh boy, that
So,
looks like a nice bottle of bubbles."
Don't you guys find it frustrating? So now it's harder to
To find like clean things. So shopping for trash bags with, you know, Febreze
send.
Yes.
Can I just get a bag that doesn't have with extra Clorox
Yeah.
lined?
Yeah, I
rubber?
can't understand. Now the trash bags have a Clorox label and a Febreze label. And like, you need bleach and Febreze?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't get it.
So trying to find
Truthfully,
fragrance free. The
real
whole
trick
home.
is to find an off brand, like a store brand.
Yeah.
Like in Bermuda, it would be like ShopRite
Yeah,
or something
Or
like that.
Waitrose
Or
yeah.
Waitrose.
Yes.
They likely won't have, but soon they're gonna catch up and try to be trendy too. But for now,
I'm
those are
having it.
safe.
Yeah.
And so I lost my train of thought. We were talking trash bags. It was because the scent. And so I find now that I've been avoiding scent for so long, especially in the home. Now, as a physiotherapist, I'll have someone come in, say I haven't met them before, and they thought they were being very kind to douse themselves with cologne or perfume
deodorant.
right before our appointment. Luckily, I have an air purifier and I can open up the window. But scents, a lot of people are sensitive to scents, and I wish more people would go into, we're conscious about that.
Yeah.
Go into public
It can give people
spaces.
instant headaches,
Instant,
migraines.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so having those scent-free places.
Well, I'm pretty sure, like, as you guys know, I maybe you don't. I found that by the time I got to 30, my health was a mess, but it was more like chronic, vague, like word stuff. Like lab work looked all great. Everybody's like, you look healthy, but I felt horrible and I had issues with fatigue. And when I reflect back, it's not just the aluminum or heavy metals. I really think that it had a lot to do with Febreze. Like I was big into, I was a habit into Febreze, Glade plug-ins.
Oh, the car things.
Or in the home too.
Or in the home.
Yeah,
I never
but
got-
I had, like, I remember going to Walmart and
Yeah.
picking them up all the time, and I was continuously getting these things.
You're
And
addicted
then
to
when I recognized that how toxic that stuff is to my body, I was like,
Yeah.
dang it. You know, that's
Yeah.
why I ended up with all these sensitivities. I got rhinitis and sinusitis. So the fragrance stuff, the need to have those Glade plugins and Febrezes, I just wish people understood how toxic they are. And then the scented candles.
Yeah.
You know, everybody really wants all this nice smelling home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Use these. Yeah. Essential oils.
Yeah,
I know-
what's the best way
Yeah.
to naturally
But the
make your
hard
house?
part is definitely the candle thing because even my husband, there's a candle that reminds him of Christmas, and I mean, this candle I think is 10 years old because he's lit it a few times. I'm like, no, not the candle. So even you can turn the candle over and read the ingredients, and it really helps you understand, oh yeah, this is not just beeswax.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of harmful chemicals that go into your home, and if you're not well ventilated, imagine too the double whammy that you're getting.
People don't understand how scary that word fragrance really should be, because if they did
Wow,
turn
yeah.
it around, they'll read fragrance. When we read fragrance, we run for the hills.
Yeah, we're like harsh chemical.
Exactly.
But
it
you're
is
right,
a
they-
chemical. Anything that says synthetic fragrance or fragrance means that it's actually a toxic chemical that can actually mess with your endocrine system, all of your glands.
Yes.
So you really shouldn't use anything. So ideally, when you turn it around, if it should say with natural fragrance, and in brackets it should say essential oils or plant oils like limonene or
Yeah,
citrus.
you want to get away from, because some people will also pick up essential oils or oils that they think are essential,
right, fragrance oils,
but they actually
that's
are
what
fragrance
they are.
oils.
And if it doesn't
Oh.
say essential oil, then it's a fragrance oil, which you should still run for the hills from.
And there's some really great brands like, you know, doTERRA
doTERRA,
that you can trust. We like to use also Vibrant Blue oils that are more conscious about just essential oils and not contaminating the
And I
stuff.
feel like the only hazard with this is overuse. Maybe you just have to recognize that plant oils are still very strong, and you just have to use a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so just going around your home, this could be a big homework task. Going through your home and getting rid of fragrance, anything. And I know you think that might make your house not smell good, but
It's actually the opposite. Fresh air and like non-heavy chemical scents, you end up with this freshness.
yeah, and how great for your senses, right? That weren't overwhelmed all the time.
Yeah.
So your home becomes really
Nice.
And you'll
a
feel
nice.
better,
Yeah, you'll feel better.
All right. So I think
We've hit the bedroom now. We're going to, how about we each talk about something that makes their bedroom a little more holistic?
I will say bed sheets and pillows. So first of all, pillows, I think you can get some good non-toxic ones, like when you're ready to swap out, because inevitably after a few years, the amount of like dust mites and everything can be big triggers
I
for
don't even think they
allergies.
can last a few years here.
Especially if you're sensitive or living on molding house, you should just be tossing them every
So there's some brands, I haven't found a place locally that sells like nice non-toxic pillows, but I know there's Parachute, Koyuchi, a few others. So pillows, and then bed sheets where you ideally spend 10 hours sleeping.
Yes,
You spend, almost half of your life sleeping, or you should, maybe a quarter. But so having non-toxic,
so ideally some organic
cotton
sheets.
or linen sheets.
Or organic hemp.
Or I've seen bamboo.
Bamboo,
Organic bamboo.
And they're not always more expensive. They can be
Actually, I think they're on price to what regular
sheets
sheets
are.
are.
Because regular sheets, it's all about the thread count.
Yeah.
But I don't care about the thread count. I just care about my health.
Because you literally are laying there exposed. And we forget sometimes our skin is that big organ that absorbs toxins. And you don't want to lay on non-organic sheets.
Exactly. In my bedroom, there's a hard rule: no TV. We have never had. Actually, once we moved the TV, we were all sick, and we're like, we're getting in bed. It was a big mission, but it was a great weekend in bed. There's no TV in the bedroom, no screens and things like that. So when I go into my bedroom, my brain already knows, oh, it's time for sleep. I'm not going to be scrolling. I'm not going to be watching Netflix. I am just going to sleep.
That's a big scary step for some people.
I think in Bermuda it's magnified because we share our homes with so many people. So some of my clients who they're having a hard time sleeping, and they're like, well, I have to watch TV in my room because the living room has this person and the other room, and so their room is really their everything. And they're working from home, they're social, everything in that bedroom. So it's tricky. I mean, throw a sheet over that TV after a certain time and don't use it as you wind down for bed to try to help that.
What about you, Brie?
Unplugging it would be a really good option. So blackout curtains, I have such a short sleep span. Like I wake up really early, so when the sun comes up, I've already been up. So having those nice dark hours is really nice for me.
Oh, cool.
All right, I've got 3 things real quick, though, but we didn't cover them. So one, I have a wooden bed frame. I just, less toxic and better feng shui. I also have a headboard and I position my bed. So I don't want us to do a holistic talk without talking a little bit about feng shui or feng shui, however you want to pronounce it. But I felt like definitely in the bedroom, we try to focus on making sure that the positioning of the bed makes us feel like a king and queen of our domain, so that we had that set up. So I think that's it. Those are my 3 things. So wooden bed frame, a nice headboard, and setting the position. So the position is the power position. So you want your bed to face your door so that anything that you see coming in, just like how a king or queen will be
directly in front of the door, because that's the dead man position.
So
I learned that feng shui.
There's a lot, and
facing the door, but not directly in front of the door.
Yeah, there's information you guys can read about that. But I also did that for my kids' bedrooms as well, because it's less likely to have nightmares. If they feel like they can see what's coming in their room, then it really helps to feel more powerful in their space and in their surrounding. So that's what I've done.
And maybe we should add, because you're spending so much time in the bedroom, if you do have an air filter, if you only have one, move it to your bedroom at night. Breathing in for 6, 7, 8 hours clean air.
And
that's
you
huge.
Should shut off the Wi-Fi. Say that. I mean,
yes.
if you're gonna have a holistic home at night, you should shut off the Wi-Fi.
It's so many tips.
There's
so
many tips.
I'm like, we're probably gonna say one more.
Yes.
Coming soon near you, Ocean Rock Home. Okay? Come and holistify your home. But
it's huge, right? Gosh.
Especially now, like with the last 3 years, people spend so much time.
But Dr. Peace is not joking. To really get to the root cause of some people's problems, she goes to their home. There's no way you know,
I spend so much time.
Yeah, there's no way you can figure out everything that's going wrong, because when you're in the office, you're not thinking about that little thing that you do, but then Dr. Peace could see it and say, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like that could be contributing to your illness or symptoms. And it's...
Yeah, our most complicated patients, we do like to go into their environment, into the space. I do see people making mistakes like still buying memory foam pillows that contour to your neck, but they're really filled with lots of toxic chemicals. The ones that also mold to your body when you're sleeping, those mattresses have tons of off gas and can make people sick. So yeah, we have to kind of look at that.
Yeah.
And then truthfully, your space that you're living in is really an extension of your mind. So if you are looking around and there is plenty of chaos and clutter, then that is also showing some disorganization in the brain. So it's really important to declutter and make your space look very clean. And I think that's a big functional thing too.
That is something I did notice in Bermuda, is that the holiday season, a lot of people do clean their house, paint their house, you know, get ready for the holidays. I think that is such a great ritual. And there are
always huge lines at the dump.
Yeah, because it is good.
It's really nice to make sure the things coming back in are not too much as well. But at least we're getting rid of stuff.
And in a world where there's so much out of our choice, so we don't always get to choose what our work environment is like, or you know, traffic and all that. Our home is where we do have choice for the most part.
And just splurge a little on the healthier option, because really in the long run you're adding years to your life. You know, for getting the high quality now, right? Instead of being sick later and then having to overhaul everything.
And don't be overwhelmed. Just do it one at a time.
Yeah, each purchase at a time. Is this purchase the best purchase for me and my health? And do your homework and reach out. We have lots of resources when it comes to a holistic home, right? So if you have any ideas of how you're going to revamp your home, get at it. I know you will make this next year a very healthy, prosperous year by building your home a magical place for you to feel well.
Yep.
All right. See you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like what you heard and you are new to our channel, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button and you'll get notified whenever we upload a new video.